What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So today I'm going to try and do a really quick video for y'all on what the best exercises are for you to do if you're trying to grow your glutes. Now, I've been doing a lot of research and reading on, the glute training, mainly through Brett Contreras, one of the, he's known as the glute guy. I'm not saying that 100% of his work is I follow to the T, but I'd say 99.9% of the stuff that he puts out is phenomenal stuff. There are certain differences that I may have, but the guy's an expert in glute training. So a lot of the times when I go to the gym, or just gyms in general, people who are trying to work on their glutes are specifically doing two exercises and are missing a third one. The two exercises that we see often are a lot of people doing squats, a good exercise, and a lot of people doing deadlifts, another good exercise. But I really just want to quickly go through this with y'all, that when we're doing a squat, our glutes are mainly firing. It actually gets the most muscle contraction when we're all the way at the bottom. This is actually when it's all the way stretched. So it's not actually even when it's contracted. This is when you're getting the most glute activation out of a squat, is all the way at the bottom. So it's during a stretch. Meanwhile, when you're doing a deadlift, again, we're getting all that glute activation when we're at a stretch. Now, these are both really good exercises because they do put the glute under stress, but they're not necessarily the best exercise for glute activation and for glute development. There are a number of things that you're going to want to incorporate into your program in order to get the most well-developed glutes. But most commonly, what I'm not seeing at the gym is a lot of hip thrusts, even glute bridges. I'm not seeing any of those types of things. And I think, although we see it all over social media and everything like that, I think a lot of us are too scared to, try and develop and trying to do a glute bridge. So this is going to be interesting to try because I have a rolling chair. But when it comes to trying to do a glute bridge or a hip thrust, you're getting the contraction at the top. So this is when the muscle is fully shortened versus in the other ones where it was lengthened. So this is why it's a totally different perspective, and you'll get a full glute development out of it versus just the squat and the deadlift. So if we think about it, if we're all the way at the bottom of our stance or our movement, we're really hammering the lower part of our glute. Everyone thinks the glute is just one big muscle. There's three main muscles of it, and we're not going to get into that stuff. But we're really only working the bottom of it. If we work the hip thrust, we're actually working both halves of it. We're working the top and the bottom. So it really is that much more of an important exercise for you to be doing if you want to be training your glutes. A lot of us are kind of afraid to get into, trying to do the hip thrusts when it's really a fairly simple exercise. I'm going to come out with a master movement on the hip thrust next, but I just wanted to break it down, and I wanted to tell you why it's extremely important for you to try and incorporate the hip thrust into your programming if your goal is to aesthetically improve your glutes. If your goal is not to aesthetically improve your glutes, or even if your goal is performance, you should be able to be doing a lot on a hip thrust. And a lot of us are going to be too scared to even add weight to the hip thrust, making sure that, some of us kind of get afraid of really trying to push ourselves in a certain movement. Yes, the first couple weeks should be laying down the foundation and just getting the movement down, but then there needs to be incremental adjustments that you need to be making, as in adding weight, performing more reps, performing certain things for isometric kind of things. There needs to be more to it. And I just wanted to break it down real quick that, we have three main exercises when we're talking about glutes. I'm not to say that these are the most important. I think the hip thrust is. Squats, deadlifts are definitely our proponents because they're compound movements, but we got to incorporate a lot into our glute training and just training in general. So that's it for today. We're just talking about, what the one missing exercise that I'm seeing from people who are really trying to perform, improve on their glutes. So it's the hip thrust. you still want to do your squats, you still want to do your deadlifts, but you really want to incorporate a hip thrust. You should be hip thrusting 2, even maybe 3 times a week if your goal is to improve your glutes. All right, so you all take care and have a nice day, and I'll see you next week when we're actually going to be trying to show a video on the cues and everything that I do when I'm instructing somebody to do their first ever hip thrust. So take care, everyone.